don't think that Republicans can sleep on what they're seeing happening right now with the Democrats.
Hello, good morning. We're live until 11 this morning. Have you had problems with a medical device that's been implanted in your body? We are talking this morning about a major investigation that has found some devices, like certain types of implanted contraceptives, hip replacements and pacemakers, have not been properly tested. There are now calls for a register to be set up to monitor every patient with an implant. Do get in touch on everything we're talking about. Hashtag Victorya Live. And if you're emailing and you're happy for us to contact you and maybe want to take part in the programme, please include your phone number in your message. And remember, text will be charged at the standard network rate. Now let's join Ben with a summary of today's news.
Hi Joanna, thank you very much indeed. The United Arab Emirates has granted a presidential pardon to the British academic Matthew Hedges. The Durham University PhD student was jailed for life last week for spying. His wife Daniela Dehada says she can't wait for him to return home. The Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt says he's grateful to the government of the UAE for resolving the issue speedily. A UAE government spokesman said Mr. Hedges was being granted clemency along with hundreds of other prisoners to mark a national day. But he still insisted Mr. Hedges had been spying for Britain.
Says the Democratic leader, the Speaker House again. He's got no formal opponent yet, but it just seems to be a matter of time. What do you think?
I think it's going to be a matter of time. And also, in order for her to actually make it as Speaker, she will need votes from some of those freshman Congress people who have come in saying that they would not vote for Nancy Pelosi.
Offer up some Republicans.
And just to say that coming up in the next few minutes, Joanna will be getting reaction from a colleague of Mr. Hedges and also his MP. Please stay with us for that. Three of her Brexit withdrawal plan. MPs are likely to vote on it on December the 12th. Well, in the next hour or so, the Prime Minister will address her cabinet at Downing Street before making a statement to members of Parliament in the Commons this afternoon. Opposition parties, the DUP and many of her own backbenchers have already said they'll oppose the draft deal. But the new Brexit secretary says the public just want politicians to get on with it.
The fact is, this is the only deal on the table. It's taken 2 years of tough negotiation to get to this point. This is a deal that delivers on the referendum, and I think the biggest democratic vote in our history. It will be profoundly damaging to our democracy not to deliver on that vote. But we need to move forward in a way that maintains our security cooperation with Europe and protects jobs, protects those supply lines that is so important to our manufacturing and other industries.
Ukraine's president has described the seizure by Russia of 3 Ukrainian Navy vessels as an act of aggression. Russian special forces opened fire and took control of 2 gunboats and a tugboat as they tried to pass through the Kerch Strait off the coast of Crimea. Both NATO and the EU have called for restraint and for Ukraine's access to the waters to be restored. The Royal College of Surgeons is calling for compulsory registration of every medical device or implant put into a patient in the UK. The proposal comes after an investigation by media organisations around the world found that evidence of inadequate testing and faulty equipment. The devices include heart pacemakers, rods to correct spines and artificial knees and hips. Now you can see more on the investigation in tonight's Panorama programme. That's 8:30 this evening on BBC One and afterwards on the BBC iPlayer. Rail passengers who are not happy with how operators have dealt with their complaints will now be able to appeal to an independent ombudsman. All of the UK's national train operators have signed up to the independent body, which means that they'll be obliged to take action if failings are identified. The new service is being funded by train operators and can be used by customers if their complaint has not been resolved within 40 working days. There we are. Let's look at the latest news stories for you here on BBC News. I'll be at Westminster for Newsroom Live. That's at 11 o'clock. But now back to Joanna.
Thank you very much, Ben. Later on this programme, Theresa May goes to the Commons this afternoon to urge MPs to get behind her Brexit withdrawal plan. She says if they don't, they risk causing more uncertainty and division. She's holding a cabinet meeting in the next half hour. We'll be live with our correspondent at Downing Street. And we'll hear later how a surgeon described Esure, a contraceptive implant, as turning into a calcified nail inside the body. It's part of an investigation for BBC Panorama into a wide range of medical medical devices that have gone wrong.
Nobody's got it easy. When they have a problem, they have a problem because if she decides to stay,
do get in touch with your thoughts on all the stories we're talking about on the programme today. Hashtag Victoria Live, and if you're emailing and you're happy for us to contact you and maybe want to take part in the programme, please include your phone number in your message. And remember, text will be charged at the standard network rate. Matthew Hedges, the British student who was jailed for life in the United Arab Emirates for alleged spying, has been pardoned with immediate effect. His wife says she hopes he'll be home tomorrow. The UAE maintains the spy and says he confessed to working for MI6. A spokesman from the UAE's National Media Council made the announcement of clemency earlier this morning.
Fox Nation, become a founder now.
As they should. We reserve the right to protect our country from any external threat.
Did she really say that?
The sentence that you handed down to Mr. Hedges is fair in response to the letter from a family of Mr. Hedges requesting clemency and in consideration of the historical relationship and close ties between the United Arab Emirates and the United Kingdom. His Highness has decided to include Mr. Matthew Hedges among the 785 prisoners released. Mr. Hedges will be permitted to leave the country once all the formalities are complete.
Well, Matthew Hedges' wife, Daniela Tejada, tweeted her reaction just over an hour ago. She said, "The presidential pardon for Matt is the best news we could have received. Thank you, friends, family, media, academics, and the wider public for your undivided support. I've been brought back to life." And she's also spoken to the Today programme on BBC Radio 4.
There are enforcement laws that Congress enacted.
To be honest, I wasn't expecting it.
It's just ridiculous. She ought to go, I said last night, she ought to go walk the wall of the National Law Enforcement Memorial of the hundreds of aborts raising ISIS
really
that
incredulous
the ultimate sacrifice and lost their lives,
finally.
and apologize to them and apologize for the families of these men and women that died serving their country.
7 months already.
All right, let's get the read from Arizona's Republican.
Do you know when you're going to see him?
Congressman, good to have you. What did you
don't know
think
yet.
of her comments?
You saw
I thought it was morally
the
reprehensible.
news has just been announced, so we're trying
really,
to alternate the
I believe that she did it for political purposes. She ran for president. She's kind of died. But I mean, look, these men and women are putting themselves in harm's way to enforce the law.
What was the last time you saw Matthew, and what did you think then?
I just thought it was morally repugnant.
We did reach out to the senator. Haven't heard back. What springs eternal? Just to understand what she meant by these remarks. But it comes at a time, Congressman, where a lot of people are questioning whether our stance on the
So I'm glad that it won't be long till we say hello again.
Matthew Hedges' wife, Daniela Tejada. The Foreign Secretary, Jeremy Hunt, has tweeted fantastic news about Matthew Hedges. Although we didn't agree with the charges, we are grateful to the UAE government for resolving the issue speedily. But also a bittersweet moment as we remember Nazanin and other innocent people detained in Iran. Justice won't be truly done until they too are safely home. We can talk now to Andreas Krieg, who's an academic colleague of Matthew Hedges, and he's here with me now in the studio. We're also joined by Ben Bradshaw, who is Matthew Hedges' constituency MP and has been pressuring for him to be brought home. Welcome, both of you. Andreas, I know that you've got to know Daniela over the months since this has all been going on. You last spoke to her yesterday. Obviously just so different for her to be able to wake up and hear this news today. How has she been?
Well, obviously, imagine the fact that, you know, you're somewhat newly married, and then your beloved husband has been detained in solitary confinement for a month without you being able to get in touch, and then basically receiving a life sentence for something out of complete injustice and without any due diligence and any real charges, and then possibly with the prospect of never seeing him again. So, I mean, it was an absolute, I can only imagine it was a very nightmarish experience for the last couple of months.
And in the world of academia, consternation that this could happen to somebody who's there purely for academic research.
Yes and no, but I mean, we've known the Emirates from all countries in the Gulf are probably the most repressive when it comes to civil liberties. So, you have to apply due diligence and a lot of really good risk assessment when you decide to do research in the UAE, particularly on issues relating to their foreign policy and their relationship with other countries in the region. I think we all knew, and we all know, I me included, I know that I couldn't travel to the UAE at the moment, considering the research that I'm doing of UAE foreign policy in the region as well as the UAE engagement in London and in Washington, because it's controversial. And whenever something is controversial, when you're lucky, you might not be able to enter the UAE. If you're unlucky, such as Matt, you actually end up in jail under charges. There are usually two narratives that the UAE apply. One is the espionage narrative and the other one is the terrorism narrative. Two narratives where they usually say, if you want to take away from the credibility of a person, you just label him a spy or you label him a terrorist, and then you can do with him whatever you want. And they've done that time and again since 2011. Let's not forget, the UAE are the counter-revolutionary force in the region, and since the end of the Arab Spring, or beginning of the Arab Spring actually, because we don't know if it's ended, the UAE have been on the forefront of making sure that people disappear or are silenced who are opposition figures who put any threat to authoritarian regimes in the region.
Ben Bradshaw, great news today. Were you surprised to hear it happening so quickly?
They opened up with
yes, I was, because I expected it to happen if it was going to happen a bit later in the week on the Emirati National Day, which is when they traditionally pardon quite a lot of prisoners. But it's obviously fantastic news. I think we all feel better when Matt actually safe and sound back home with Danielle and his wife, but this has been an absolute nightmare over 6 months for them,
try to make a more orderly approach to the border by these potentially thousands of migrants. That's the real question the administration is trying to answer here tonight. But as you pointed out
the release draw a line under the situation, or will there be further fallout as a result of it happening in the first place?
Well, I think there's a certain amount of rebuilding to be done.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Universities and others
We'll get a little bit more now on what is happening at the border and the troops who are showing up there. Lucia following that story from our Denver bureau. Hi, Alicia.
Why the UAE simply refused to accept their assurances that Matt was an academic and nothing more. So I think there'll be a bit of an inquest into how this was allowed to happen or could happen. And I suspect there'll be quite a lot of rebuilding work to reassure people that particularly for academics, as you just heard from your academic there, that the UAE is a place where we can do business.
Is it too dangerous for academics to go there now, do you think?
Serious criminals.
Well, I'm not sure I'm best qualified to answer that question. I know that a number of universities have been reviewing their ties in the light of Matthew's treatment and incarceration.
Mattis explained the role of the nearly 5,800 members of the military at the border, and that is to provide support to the National Guard and Border Patrol. He also points out that most of them are not armed and do not have arrest authority, adding, quote, if someone's beating on a border patrolman and if we were in position to have to do something about
previously, the Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt paid tribute to the bravery of Daniela Tejada in extremely challenging circumstances. She has fought incredibly hard for her husband, hasn't she? And she was critical of the government initially putting foreign relations, she said, before her own husband's safety. Do you think it could have been handled differently?
Doctors there say they are seeing multiple health issues in the crowd of people who have traveled thousands of miles, often by foot. Our crew in Mexico talked to Jorge Lopez, who's been told by others not going to get
at all times. Look, she was critical of the way the government here initially dealt with the case, as they usually do in these Gulf cases. They thought they could sort it all behind the scenes using the relationships we have with the UAE. But that didn't work, and I think she got more and more frustrated after a few months, and she was also extremely worried about Matt's state of health. He has mental health problems, he was held in solitary confinement, he had this so-called confession extracted from him under duress. So I think she lost patience with the softly approach. I think the main thing is we got the result we wanted and needed. It's taken 6 months, but you know, we know there are other cases in the world that have taken a lot longer than that. So let's be grateful for what's happened and thankful, and then we can have a review of what happened. I think you know when Matt's taken
over. Andreas, for those who know him, I'd be so happy to have him here.
Absolutely, no, it's an absolute delight. But it should be, we shouldn't stop fighting for a lot of other people who are in prison around the world, as we just heard, and there are a lot of other Arab Emirati colleagues imprisoned in the UAE because they have expressed their opinion, and also these people need to be released. But yes, we're absolutely relieved that Matt is now hopefully free, but I believe it when I see it, and we should wait until he can celebrate until he's back home.
Lovely to talk to you. Thank you very much, Andreas Krieg and Ben Bradshaw. The EU yesterday gave its seal of approval to the Brexit withdrawal agreement, meaning the Prime Minister can now focus all of her energy on persuading Parliament to support it too, which needs to happen before it can come into effect. But it is going to be very tough without the votes of the DUP and dozens of her own MPs who said they will not support her. She has got some serious persuading to do. This morning she's meeting her cabinet, and later she'll face MPs in the House of Commons, where we can talk to our chief political correspondent, Vicky Young, who's in Downing Street ahead of this morning's cabinet meeting. Vicky, what are the signs so far on whether she is going to be able to win people over?
One place that even some Republicans.
Well, it's going to be a very hard sell. Now, the cabinet, as you say, are meeting this morning. We've had a few already go in through the door there, and I think the message from the Prime Minister is going to be clear that the deal that she has got means that the referendum result is being delivered. It ends freedom of movement, it ends large payments to the EU, but she will say that it also protects jobs by having a close trading relationship with the EU. Now, what she's going to do is to really move beyond Westminster. I think the plan is to get out into the country, try to get this message, her message, across to people who aren't in the House of Commons, get beyond those 650 MPs, and trying to persuade people that this is about the future of the economy, it's about the future of their jobs. So at the moment the numbers look incredibly challenging for the Prime Minister, and Cabinet Ministers would accept that. But what they think is that if this message could get out to people, they will put pressure on their MPs. And the other argument about Labour MPs as well, they will want to be trying to persuade them too, to say to them, this is not about tribal politics, this is about the future of the country. And in the end, the Prime Minister's message to them will be, you've got to do the right thing. Now, having said all that, it's certainly the case that other people are looking at alternative scenarios. The message from the Prime Minister will be, it's my deal or you're risking chaos. Vicky, thank you very much. Well, in the studio with me, we've got MPs from both of the main parties, all of whom campaigned for Remain in the referendum. Damian Green is a Conservative MP and former Cabinet Minister close to the Prime Minister, who will be supporting her deal as being in the national interest. Heidi Allen, also a Conservative MP, but will be voting against it, and instead is campaigning for a second referendum on EU leadership. For Labour, we've got Jenny Chapman, a shadow Brexit minister, who believes this deal is bad for the country, but thinks that Jeremy Corbyn could negotiate something better. And we're joined from Stoke-on-Trent by Labour MP Gareth Snell, who cannot support the deal now, but has said he would be willing to vote with the government if it meant avoiding a no deal. Thank you, all of you. Welcome. Well, Heidi Allen, your party leader, the Prime Minister, says it's this deal or chaos.
How do you see the asylum aspects of this playing into
chaos is how we've been since the referendum vote. People have been desperate to know what the future's going to look like. But I don't accept that. For all the decision in the House at the moment, what we are experiencing is Parliament. This is what parliamentary sovereignty feels like, wrestling to ensure that we make the right decision for the country. And yes, if the vote, as I fear it will be in December, is not successful, we will need to look at another option. But I think that's just...
You say you fear it will not be successful. You're one of those who are supporting it not to be successful.
Correct.
Why do you fear it?
Because I suppose the Prime Minister has worked exceptionally hard, and nobody can say that isn't the case. And she has done the absolute best she can. But the brutal truth is, it's not a deal that's acceptable to both Remain or Leavers. And I think had she, as many of us on my side of the House tried to convince her repeatedly, had she gone for a softer still deal, single market and customs union full access, and I think that would have got through. But she has tried to compromise to the ERG wing of my party, with many of us knowing there's no bone in their bodies that wants to compromise. No deal ever would have been good enough for them. So it feels like a wasted opportunity.
Damian Green, she has been trying to balance, obviously, the knowledge that in parliamentary terms, softer Brexit would have been more likely to get through, but the country voted for us to leave.
Yeah, and I think that's the central point where I would accompany with Heidi. It's not just a question of compromising with parliamentary colleagues, it's a question of respecting the result of the referendum. And inevitably, if you if we all step back and sort of take the emotion out of it, the country voted 52-48 to be just about to leave, so we've got to leave, but we need to leave with a deal, and this deal is a good deal, and it's certainly the only deal on offer because it protects the borders, it fulfills that very important part of the referendum desire, takes away the direct rule of the European Court of Justice, and it preserves the integrity of the United Kingdom, but at the same time it leaves us with close enough economic ties that we can preserve jobs and prosperity.
Is there any way it's going to get through the Congress?
Well, I think everyone's first reaction has been to get tribal, both in terms of parties and within parties as well.
But it's different tribalism, isn't it? Because it's actually a tribalism that goes across parties, because it's all about in or out, not left or right.
Well, to some extent that's true, but I think the Labour Party appears to have sort of united against the deal in a way that perhaps you'd expect an opposition party to do. I think this is such an important vote. This is genuinely, and historic is overused in politics a lot, but this is genuinely a historic vote. And I think over the next couple of weeks, every individual MP will examine both their own conscience and obviously listen to their own constituents as well. So I think there is a lot to play for.
Jenny Chapman, you'll be voting against.
Yes, we will be voting against because it's a bad deal. And, Damien is right in that this is a unique moment, but that doesn't mean you agree to anything. I'm not going to vote to leave the European Union on terms that I don't support because either they're too vague and non-specific or because of the issues that have kind of been debated to death over the weekend to do with the backstop.
But do you really think Jeremy Corbyn could negotiate something any better? This is a deal that's been done over 18 months. It has been...
But it hasn't. I mean, the thing is, this deal, the deal is it's a partial deal, is one of the issues that we have. And if you started from the point that the Labour Party would wish to start from, which is a comprehensive customs union, then a lot of the issues that the Prime Minister keeps on rubbing up against and the objections that keep being put forward, they wouldn't be there anymore. And there's a good chance, as Heidi has said, that she might feel prepared to vote for that.
But again, I mean, it takes us back to that territory that we're talking about, which is that MPs, as a majority, want Remain. The country didn't.
No, but what you also need to understand is that the ERG and the extreme leaders in the Tory party, they're not representative of the majority of Leave voters. And I represent a seat that voted Leave. And most of my Leave voters, they want a sensible outcome, not an extreme outcome. So the trouble for the Prime Minister is that by trying to keep everybody happy, she's found herself pulled more in one direction than she ought to be, and she's actually found now that she pleases nobody. So why not try and get something that is actually good enough for the country and that could get the support of Parliament?
Gareth Snell, you've said that you're opposed to this deal, but you would vote for it to avoid no deal. Tell us more about your position.
What I've said is that what I've said is that we will need to leave the European Union with a deal. I kind of agree with what Heidi said, which is for the ERG part of the Conservative Party, there is no deal that they will accept. But the same goes for those strong Remain voices in the Labour Party who are pushing for a second referendum. There is no deal that they would accept either. So the job of the government is to look across the chamber and find a majority of MPs who will support a deal so that we can still accept the outcome of the referendum, but make sure that we leave in a way that does least economic damage to our country.
Brussels has made absolutely clear this is the only show in town this deal. There's not going to be another one.
Steady rain is complicating the search
for victims. Well, Brussels said that within the red lines of the government's current negotiation, this is the only deal available. But it's a very valid point, and it's one that I've put to my own party myself, which is if the Labour Party still accepts that we're leaving the European Union next March, at some point we have to come forward with something we can vote for. And also it's always pleasurable to watch a Conservative government disintegrate in front of you. It doesn't deal with the hard reality that we are leaving the European Union in March, and we need to leave with a deal that protects jobs and manufacturing in places like Stoke-on-Trent. The Labour Party says it wants a general election, and I absolutely support that, but at some point we need to flesh out what would our policy be in that general election, and would we still be a party that accepts the result of the referendum.
Damien Green, are we inevitably going to end up with an election or a second referendum?
No, I think what we've learnt over the past 2 years is that nothing's
inevitable or predictable at the moment.
My preference would be for the vote to go through. I think that the chances of general election are minuscule.
But she doesn't have a majority.
Well, but we have a fixed term Parliament Act, and the government got a finance bill through last week, which is one of the basic things that the government needs to do. So actually, the government can just, but one is enough. The government does have a majority of legislation through. I think the problem with the second referendum is that it will be hugely divisive. We know how divisive the first one was. We're still suffering.
Yeah, and like we said before,
we have another one. I fear it will be even more divisive and have a similar sort of result, either a narrow Leave vote or a narrow Remain vote.
Divisive, but one of the issues has been that everybody's been saying, well, this is what was meant, no, this is what was meant, and actually it's the only way to achieve finding out what people actually meant and what is. You want to know, don't you? With clarity with the question.
For 1 minute, I am not actively hoping, desiring, campaigning for a second referendum, because it would be a disastrous place to end up in. But the point is, I think we all end up there because Parliament, three people in democracy, government, Parliament and people. The government and Parliament can't find the right way through, they have to go back to the people. But the huge difference, if we did this again, we would have our eyes wide open and we could present to people, this is what the deal looks like, this is what Remain looks like, what do you want? And there's a very different position there than we had at the referendum 2 years ago, where it was promises on the side of a bus. It was, it'll be easy, nothing will change really, all the same jobs will be kept and more. And the reality is, this deal, particularly around the political declaration of the future, it is a leap into the dark. I am
You've just eliminated no deal as a question on the referendum.
No, I think potentially it would have to be like a tri-vote.
On the East Coast,
checkers to, whatever we want to call the deal that's in front of us now, with no deal and Remain. I think they would be the options.
It's been suggested by Vernon Bogdanor, constitutional expert this morning, it would be, there'd have to be two. You'd have basically in or out, and then this deal or no deal. That would make it clear what people want.
Brenda from Bristol might have some thoughts about having two more referendums. I think one more would be divisive, two more. Really?
Jenny, do you think Brenda from Bristol and more people are actually looking at this whole fiasco though and thinking, hang on, you know, where are we going? What is going on?
Of course they're thinking that, they are, and what they look to us as MPs to do is to not give up or not get fatigued and not think, you know what, we've been at this for 2 years, we just want to, they need us to step up and do our jobs properly, which is why you've got, I think at the moment, a significant majority of MPs saying this isn't good enough and you're not going to bounce us into supporting something that is not good enough. And you know, Brenda, I feel for her, I absolutely do. This is not pretty to watch, but actually, you know, that's not the test here. The test is this good enough for our country? And so far this deal just isn't.
TV debate. Theresa May and Jeremy Corbyn, they both say they think that would be good.
I'm sceptic about TV debates in all circumstances. I've never seen one that actually illuminated any of the issues we've discovered. Hugely complex issues. I'm not sure at the end of a long TV debate between the party leaders we would know much more, frankly.
Great idea, Damien. I think, I do think that it might bring it to life a little bit, and to have two people arguing, you know, from their respective positions. People don't have to watch it, but I think there'd actually be significant interest in this, and I think people would want to see that happen.
Chris, when you're out and about in your constituency, do people come up to you? What do they say? Is this something that everyone's talking about?
In town, often seen at shops.
It's still something that's dominating the conversations that I have on my doorsteps, but what the Prime Minister has successfully done with this deal is unite those that wanted to remain and those that want to leave in opposition to her deal. The one thing that I am getting a lot from Remainers and Leavers is the fear of a no-deal Brexit and crashing out with no deal. There's been lots of talk about how we can stop no deal. But we have the date that we exit written into UK law, and for all of politicians saying we'll block it, there's no majority, we can stop it. Until somebody can actually say how we're going to stop it, that is the one thing that's genuinely causing concern on the doorsteps in Stoke-on-Trent.
And in the studio you all agreed on the no deal is the biggest fear, but might we have an accidental no deal? Is that possible?
Well, I think that's when Parliament has to take its responsibility and stop that.
Thank you all very much. And Do let us know your thoughts. Just a few quick comments to bring you from people watching while we were talking. Kane on email, the people voted, the Prime Minister has a deal on the table. Instead of politicians backstabbing her, they should stand together as one and back the deal. And an anonymous texter, she's sold out Northern Ireland and Gibraltar, fishing, immigration and just about every other thing. And Rob on email, Labour keeps saying they want a better deal, but don't actually say what they would want as an alternative. 6 tests is meaningless if you can't say how you would get a deal to meet them. Thanks for those. Do keep your thoughts coming in. Also, stay with us for the last in our Brexit blind date series. Today it's the turn of TV presenter Ulrika Johnson and the filmmaker Dustin Lance Black, who's married to the diver Tom Daley. And also coming up, how a group of students increased donations to a food bank by 300% with a rather innovative plan involving stickers in a supermarket.
Do people really want me to give up hundreds of thousands of jobs? And frankly, if we went by this standard,
first, the Royal College of Surgeons says every person who's had a medical device implanted in their body should be recorded on a register and monitored for complications. It comes after a major investigation for the BBC's Panorama programme found problems with a wide range of devices. Thousands of women have undergone invasive surgery to remove contraceptive implants that were designed to be permanent after they were left in chronic pain. Some have even needed hysterectomies to remove the devices. Sales of the eShort sterilisation device were halted in all countries except the US last year, weeks after this programme reported it could cause problems. In a moment we'll speak to our reporter Jean McKenzie, who broke the story last year, but first here's a clip from her film on eShort implants.
Announced they would be halting exports of military equipment, both because of the Khashoggi murder, but also because of the worsening situation. It felt like I was being stabbed repeatedly over and over. It was this hot, burning pain President Trump laying out his
that never ended.
Politics, saying
Laura remembers being fitted with eShore, an implant used by the NHS to sterilise women.
I went from being a mum that was doing everything with her children to a mum that spent most of in bed, unable to move without pain, to basically being a shell of myself.
All right, with that, we're bringing Christian Whitten, former deputy senior advisor in the Trump
The small coils, which are made from nickel and polyester, are inserted into the fallopian tubes. They're designed to trigger inflammation, which causes scar tissue to build up, eventually blocking the tubes.
I think so. If you look at other U.S. allies who are considered important, you have Turkish President Erdogan. He has a ton of journalists and other political opponents rotting in jails. You have Philippines, the treaty ally Rodrigo Duterte, the president there, who actually sanctions extrajudicial killings by his police of alleged drug offenders. Look back in history. We were allies with Joseph Stalin in World War II, one of history's greatest mass murderers. We didn't do it because we liked him, but because it was
While eShore works well for many women, thousands have reported side effects and complications around the world. We've seen a list of problems the NHS has had with the device. These include the device perforating the fallopian tubes, moving around and attaching to the stomach lining, being incorrectly placed and causing pain.
Well, that was Jean. She broke the story and is here now with the latest. What's the update, Jean?
Well, yeah, that was from our investigation last year, and we were primarily looking at what was happening here in the UK. And it was really difficult because, first of all, the NHS doesn't know how many women here have this device implanted in them, let alone how many women have had to have it out, had to have hysterectomy. But now we're a bit clearer as to the scale, because the last year a group of more than 200 journalists from across the world have been looking into all sorts of medical devices, including this eShore. So we built up a picture of what's been happening in other countries. And what we found is that hundreds of women in Australia have reported problems with this device, and thousands of women in the US. Now, when we looked at it, we knew that 15,000 women in the US had reported problems. That's now up to 25,000. And it's also clear that thousands of women across the world have had to have these hysterectomies to get the device out of their body. The Guardian newspaper, for example, spoke to one surgeon in the Netherlands who has removed 500 of them alone, and he talked about how he found that this device has turned into what he calls a calcified nail inside women's bodies.
Horrendous. Where did the CV show?
Well, when we were investigating last year, the product had its safety certificate suspended in Europe, and then just weeks afterwards, the company said that it wasn't going to sell it in Europe anymore. So women here should not be being fitted with
anymore. But the company has now said that at the end of this year it's going to stop selling it in the United States as well. But importantly, it says that this has nothing to do with its safety, and it says it's all down to a lack of demand.
And it's not just this implant, of course,
from the woman who cozied up. No, you know that on this program alone, we have investigated many devices, vaginal mesh, hernia mesh, hip implants, and found problems with all of them. And now this team of journalists across the world have dug even deeper into the devices industry and found problems with some sorts of pacemakers, spinal rods, some breast implants. And when you look at all these implants, the same issues are cropping up again and again. So it now looks as if there are wider problems within the industry. The sorts of things that we see keep coming up are that devices aren't being tested properly, doctors aren't being told about all the risks when they give them to patients, and then this obviously means that patients don't know the risks themselves. So when they then start reporting problems, they're often not believed, and it takes far too long for these devices to be taken to market.
I mean, it's absolutely shocking, isn't it, to hear that they're not always tested properly and that patients aren't informed of the risks. How does that change?
Yeah, I mean, the reason that this is happening is because to get your device approved in Europe, it really doesn't take very much. You have to go to a number of private companies. So if one of them rejects you, you can just go to another one, and you really don't need much evidence at all to get your device approved. Sometimes just one clinical study. And the important thing is that these are implants that are put into people's bodies for life. And yet often the clinical studies just follow people for a very short amount of time. So there's no understanding of the long-term risks or complications. So the real change that's being suggested today by the Royal College of Surgeons is that we need to have a register. Everybody in this country who has a medical device put into their body needs to be put on a register, needs to be monitored, and that way we can start to see when things go wrong, and we can get these faulty devices off the market much sooner.
Jean, thank you. Well, as Jean mentioned, we have covered medical implants a lot on this programme, and we've got that information a lot of the time from you getting in touch with us. Heather on email has actually just got in touch to say she had 2 hip replacements in the early 2000s. About 4 years ago, she says, I fell over and broke my hip underneath the metal. The surgeon that saw me opened me up to replace the metal hip and was absolutely shocked at what he found. I had a huge cyst that was made up of metal, bone and blood because the metal had been rubbing against my bones. He had to do a bone graft as well as replacing my metal hip with a porcelain one. Because of what he'd found, he said he would have to replace the other metal hip. He monitored my blood because it was full of metal. I was only discharged from hospital earlier this year, and it has been a terrible journey. The accident was actually a blessing in disguise, she says. Otherwise, I would have never known what was going on with my body. Well, we can talk to Tony Collard, who had knee fitted in 2011 and then had hysterectomy in October last year to actually remove it. Thank you for coming in. I know that you've had terrible problems. Take us back to 2011 when you had the implant. How quickly did the problems manifest?
Efforts are underway to recover John Allen Cherry's body.
Dreadful pain while I was having the implants fitted.
On the remote island of North Sentinel. Amy Kellogg is following the story.
Instantly, things started going wrong. Pain migrated to my hips, to my back, and I just felt generally unwell.
So you must have made an immediate connection, obviously, with the implant?
No, I just thought things would settle down.
Were you told they would settle down?
Yeah. And I was told, I actually visited my GP, and the GP told me that it was early days, things would settle down. So it wasn't until, I'd say, a year or so later
in the Andaman and Nicobar Island chain off the coast of India,
started to make the connection.
So little known.
When you visit your
GP, the tribe,
you're not instantly referred back to gynecology, put these in, and you're tested for everything but
on the planet, and
what you should be tested for. And I think everybody that has had, certainly the eShore device, has been told that they're depressed, that they're hormonal. That's the problem. It's never that there could be a problem with these devices. And it's not until you start to meet other people that are also having the exact same problems as you that you do.
So if you're told you're depressed by a GP, then potentially do they start offering antidepressants? Were you offered
I was offered antidepressants.
He went back another time bearing gifts, and that
I tried them.
He was killed. An Indian anthropologist.
Obviously it didn't make any difference.
I knew I wasn't depressed. I knew I wasn't depressed. But you trust your GP. You trust your GP to do the right thing, and really they're not informed. The GP does not know what an eShore device is. They've no idea what these devices are. So they're only dealing with the problem they see.
So the Royal College of Surgeons is saying today there needs to be more joined-up thinking, and a way to
now,
do that is to have
family
a register
posted a
so that everyone's on the register,
saying that they forgive
GPs, everyone can be better informed.
For child's murder. They also
absolutely. I was never followed up, apart from the 3-month test to see if I was sterilised, which I wasn't actually sterilised because the devices had started to go wrong instantly. I was never ever followed up. I was sent for a laparoscopic hysterectomy, which damaged the coils because you shouldn't be given a laparoscopic sterilisation, but you shouldn't be given one with ESHO devices in because you can't see the devices. And from implantation to actually having the hysterectomy, there were problems at each and every stage, and I think it's because of ESHO.
And that was years, over years.
That was over years. That was over years. Yeah.
Tony, thank you very much for coming in and talking to us. Thank you, and do keep your thoughts coming in if you've had any experience of medical implants. Also, you can see much more on the investigation in tonight's Panorama at 8:30 p.m. on BBC One, and afterwards, of course, it'll be available on the iPlayer. Now today, it is the final instalment of our political blind date series. We've been sending two famous people with differing views on Brexit on a date each day. Today it's the turn of two people who live in Britain and who both have strong views on Brexit, but neither had a vote in the referendum. Filmmaker Dustin Lance Black, who's the husband of diver Tom Daley, and TV presenter Ulrika Johnson. Let's see how they got on.
15 on a 1 to 10 level.
This is absolutely off the charts. Donald Trump
politics is on the menu. So what happens when you send two people with opposing views on a blind date?
I'm just really nervous.
Will daggers be drawn?
I mean, do we keep the borders open?
Did you hear me say that? Or deals done?
Running his office like he's
Will
ahead
they
of a
want
banana.
their Brexit hard?
Are you feeling that?
Yes, because essentially... Or soft? And will the political...
I would have voted for Brexit.
Well, I'm leaving.
Get personal.
You know, we could have a wonderful time.
Really, darling?
Republic. If I had to channel a little Richard Nixon, I think he'd tell this president he's going too far.
See,
this is the sort of stuff in Banana Republic. This is what an autocrat does.
I'm Ulrika Johnson. I am Swedish, worked in TV as a presenter. I voted the original
Trump do here.
I think people in the UK best know me as the guy who will take their picture when they run into Tom. They're like, oh my God, can you take my picture? But I'm also his husband.
This news comes as President Trump submitted his written answers to Robert Mueller as the special counsel's investigation appears to be winding down. Joining us now with a reaction from the Hill, Joe Ponto, Fox News contributor Sarah Carter, and civil rights and criminal defense attorney David Schoen. Good evening, all. David, I'm going to start with you. You're the attorney here. Now, as I understand it, you think that
Ulrika, nice to meet you. Ulrika,
yeah. By the president was not a good idea.
Thank you. That's the right thing to say.
But the president
I love it. I'm freezing to death. And so when it gets down to 7, a single digit, I'm free. I'm like trembling.
The special counsel Mueller is not limited to Russia. Under the regs that relate to the special counsel's investigation.
I think at least 10 more to go because we have to have enough to have a complete football team.
Isn't that what it is? 11.
Yeah, 11. You need 11 for a soccer team.
That's why I fundamentally disagree with the idea.
Do you really?
That's really good.
Written answers to the question.
Oh, well, I've
Under
been here
section
for
600.4 of the special counsel.
So you moved here on the day of your
brand new
yes,
crimes created
that's
simply
right.
by the statement of
I
Robert
wish.
Mueller's
So
special
you
counsel.
have,
Obviously,
your American passport. You can't have a British passport
the president
at the same time, can you?
Well, I can. But first, Tom has to still be in love with me in 5 more years. I just pay taxes.
I feel like I work here, I pay my taxes here, but I can't vote here.
So you don't you can't vote here either?
No.
So neither of us were able to vote for against Brexit.
But is the president still in jeopardy here?
Of course he is. He's in greater jeopardy now, in my view at least.
Cards on the table. I felt very, very strongly.
Remember, this isn't really an investigation going on. They're not looking for information from the president. They know all that they want to know.
Before I put this pitcher of water in your face,
Robert Mueller made a choice.
What was it then? I'm so curious. Because obviously, my card's on the table. After the research I've done, I would vote against it.
I feel that the EU has become a massive, bloated machine that is
if the American people have confidence in the investigation.
All right.